All right, today we're going to take a look at how to install the new LED flush light bar system from Oracle Lighting. This is going to fit the Ram TRX and Rebel. And what's really unique about this product is rather than most light bars, which are just a metal bar with metal brackets, this actually is molded to take the same shape as the bumper, so it has a much more factory look. So before we get started with the installation, let's go ahead and see what's in the box. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we've got here. First thing is the actual light bar itself. It's got a protective coating over it, which this comes off and shows what the actual light bar looks like. All right, and we also have a packet in here. This packet's going to include our instructions, product registration card, some decals, and our hardware as well. So there's a few things in here. For one is the riv nut installation tool, which we'll go over later. Then we've got these black things that are basically these little inserts that go to kind of close up that hole there. We've got our riv nuts, which are going to be installed into the bumper surface, which will give us a threaded insert to be able to attach the light bar to. And then we have our actual hardware that we're going to use to attach the light bar itself to the bumper. So to do this installation, we're going to need a 7/16 drill bit, a 6mm Allen key, and a 14mm open-end wrench. All right, we're going to take our wiring connector that comes from the light bar and run it up through here to this corner where the auxiliary switch leads are. So you could use a fish stick or a coat hanger or something to kind of help guide the wire through here. Sometimes you could just luck out and send it right where it needs to go. So we're just going to connect the red wire here to whichever auxiliary cable that we're not already using, and we're going to go ahead and butt connect this. But if you want to solder it or do some other type of splicing to be able to connect these wires together, it's kind of up to you. On the black wire, we're going to ground it to this ground post right here. All right, so now we're actually ready to install the light bar. We're going to start by plugging in the connector, making sure it snaps in place. We're going to push the cable back between the bumper and the grill and set the light bar in place. Now this is where you're probably going to need an extra set of hands because we're going to want to push this against the grill. You can see there's a little bit of a gap here. Then when we push it against the grill, that gap closes up. So we're going to want to make sure that we've got the light bar centered, and then we push in to where the gap closes up and you have an even gap all the way around the light bar. We're going to go ahead and mark those holes at that point. So now we have our hole marked. This is going to be the center of our blind rivet here. In order to do that, we're going to need to drill a 7/16 inch hole. So the bit's going to be a little bit too big, so we're going to start by drilling a pilot hole and then work our way up to the larger bit. All right, so now we're ready to install our blind rivet. So we'll set that in place. The kit includes a tool like this that's going to compress this nut. So we're just going to go ahead and thread it in by hand initially. Then we're going to take a 6mm Allen key and then a 9/16 crescent wrench or 14mm crescent wrench, and we're going to go ahead and compress the fitting now. And we don't need to over torque this, but you will be able to feel when it's fully compressed. All right, so now that it's compressed, we can go ahead and back this out. And there you go. We've got our threaded insert now installed. So now we're going to plug everything back in. And I'm going to push this back behind here. And using the same 6mm Allen wrench, we're just going to go ahead and install the actual mounting hardware. With the light bar now tightened down, we can go ahead and install our little caps, and then we're ready to test the light bar.